Next, let's bring up Heath Wassem to discuss some of our these 2019 proposed rules changes. This has been a hot topic in the media, and I'm sure it'll be a hot topic in here. So, thank you.
Good morning. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys, for coming to be part of your support for over the years. Thanks. Appreciate it. Most exciting topic in golf, right? Rules of golf. So now, after I don't know, has anybody gone through these videos yet? Have you seen them all? You want to play the first one, the overview one? There's one with Tom Pagel in there. Go up to the top. Click on that one.
This.
Basically, that's Tom Pagel right there. He's taking you through the introduction. There's 33 proposed changes, which cover almost the entire rule book. I don't know if anybody's been to the multi-day rules seminar down at Far Hills or whatever, but I think that's going to become obsolete because having to know the ball, a ball, substitutive ball, wrong ball, all that stuff's going to kind of change, and they're changing the language of the book, which is pretty significant. If you think about the USGA and the RNA and how long it takes for them to come up with a change, it's usually about a 4 to 10 year process, and they're usually talking about a couple different words or different things. And the RNA and the USGA don't always philosophically agree based upon how manicured we are versus how rough and tough some of the turf conditions are over there, talking about different beaches and stuff. But Tom Pagel basically starts off that these changes are made in mind with protecting these two core principles. Number one, play the balls it lies. And number two, play the course as you find it. Now, as I went through all 33, there were one or two that I thought kind of went over the edge with those. Specifically, unplayable ball in a bunker, getting to remove the ball out and take a 2-shot penalty. That's, I mean, to me, that's not quite playing the balls it lies. So, and there's some gray area in there too about if someone uses it too commonly, there's a mechanism to basically go in and penalize them, but it's still very gray. So this is a 6-month preview period. Comments can be given to the USGA and submitted by August 31st, and these will not go into effect. Whatever survives all the edits in the commentary period won't go live until January 1 of 2019. So we've got some time, and I think you're going to see it debated for quite a bit. I'm actually going to take this to my men's golf committee and see if we can enact some of this year, test it out. It really does simplify the rules from one club length to 2 club lengths. It eliminates all that. And the basic theme that I see for doing this whole thing is simplifying everything with the encouragement of speeding up play and relying on the integrity of the player via a higher set of conduct standards. So you're going to see at the very end, they're basically asking each club golf committee to put in a code of conduct. That code of conduct could cover pace of play, could cover temper tantrums, could cover anything that the committee can then go back and either set a penalty for and or disqualification for. So that would be up to each committee to rule as you want, as hard-fisted or as soft-fisted as you want to do. We'll go through a couple real quick. Would you go, one of the big ones is number 6-1 dropping ball. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep going. Taking relief.
Proposed procedure for
dropping a ball. Right there. We'll start on that. We'll play that video real quick. This one kind of intrigued me. So there's 32 or 33 of these. They're all, I think, max 2-3 minutes. They're pretty quick. You could actually scroll these on your handicap computer if you wanted to, roll them through. If you could get that figured out how to set them up and get them playing.
The act of dropping your ball under the rules preserves the randomness as to where your ball will end up being played from. The proposed new rules retain this aspect of the game, but allow you to drop the ball in a wide variety of manners, including from shoulder height as currently allowed, from hip height, or from any other height, including from much closer to the ground, or in any manner, including by tossing it down. The only requirement is that the ball, when dropped, must be held above the ground without it touching anything, and it must fall through the air before coming to rest. To learn more about the proposed changes and to give us your feedback, please visit
That last one was pretty kind of accurate as to what they're kind of going for. Basically, what they're saying is that with this small little drop, that's perfect. All they're asking for is that the ball fell through the air for a, doesn't matter what period of time, but it falls through the air and then randomly comes to rest. Because you're going to see defined, what do they call them now? It's a defined relief area. So instead of having this large area where I could go 1 club length, 2 club lengths, drop it at the end, have strategy to try and get a firm spot or a down slope to get it to roll another 2 club lengths, and now I'm around a tree, or I get the benefit of being lucky and learning the rules of golf to get a good drop. That's all gone. So now my designated relief area is going to be the spot where I cross the margin of the hazard, and now for a penalty play, it's going to be 80 inches. And now you're going to start to see, I think, pieces of tape and stuff on your driver or something like that, so you can actually measure this. But it's specifically 80 inches for a penalty drop, which used to be 2 club lengths, and it's 20 inches for a free relief option, which would have been ground under repair, cart path situation. And that's really what they're trying to do, is that here's my point. They want the golf ball to be within 20 inches of that area, so you're playing from as close as possible to that original spot where you got relief from. So I think that's actually a great thing, is you're getting rid of this randomness, being able to go so far away and getting you back into the original lie as much as possible. So I thought that was one of the biggest things that they did.
Are they saying up to 80 inches or?
In 80 inches. Cannot, and that's the redrop situation used to be if it hit the ground and then rolled another 2 club lengths, gone. It must stay within that 80-inch period or the 20-inch area.
Are you still finding your nearest point of relief the same way?
No closer to the hole, but within 20 inches.
So even if you have
So
20 inches,
it's
can you
kinda-
drop
kinda
it
yes,
10?
Of where the original ball was, your nearest point of relief has to be within 20 inches of where.
So I'm on sprinkler head.
Yeah.
I'm going this way. So I'm going to go here, here, literally 20 inches. And now I can drop the ball within that area and I'm in play.
What if you're standing on a cart path? You won't be able to be 20 inches from where the ball was, would you?
That process to determine that nearest point of relief would be getting my feet off and then getting the club head down and determining that point.
20 inches from that
from
point.
there.
I believe that's the way it's going to be. They haven't gone through quite a bit with all that yet, but I would assume that would be the same. So that'll be some good question and answer to the time frame right there. But this is the key part, I think, that was pretty impressive, that you're actually getting really, really close to that original condition. And then one thing that's a big gray area is red lines versus, Kev, you're going to see this one mark on a golf course. OB could go away, and we could determine everything to become red lines. There are no more yellow lines. It's going to be all red. It's all going to be a lateral option. One thing we'll go over later too. If there's a stream, you had 2 options to go. You had 5 options on a red hazard. You could go equidistant on the other side. That's gone, and it must go on the lateral side. So you don't have that option of going to the other side anymore. So once again, it just goes down to speeding things up, simplifying the rules, and eliminating a lot of confusion, I would say, against where you can drop, where you can't drop, how many club lengths. So let's go through, just kind of go through the first one real quick. Ball moved in search. No penalty anymore. That's pretty amazing respect. I mean, I've been penalized searching for a ball, kicked it, 2-shot penalty. That's gone. Move the ball back, and there is no more. It's kind of like, I'm trying to think exact spots. You can estimate the exact spot where the ball was going. And back under the code of conduct, if you do everything reasonable to determine or measure where that spot is, the committee cannot come back and penalize you at a later time, even with TV. So if you show prudence and doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to be safe. Ball moved on the putting green accidentally. Dustin Johnson rule. No penalty and replace it. So there must be, I think it's in the next one, ball moves through the green. There must be a 95% or more likely, and that's actually in the video, chance for the player to have caused it to move. 95% or greater. So it actually puts a number in there for the first time. USGA's never really.
How do you just 95%?
95%, yeah. So if there's a
98.8.
small chance that something else caused it to move, I think you're going to be
So
safe.
either way, you
Who
put it,
determines the
either
percent?
playing it from where it's new spot and under no penalty, or putting it back under no penalty.
Moved accidentally, you're going to move it back.
And if you think you
moved it.
you're going to put
If
it
you're
back.
more likely to cause it to move, you're going to move it back.
Okay.
But if it's just the wind or something, now you're going to play it as a loss.
So in Dustin Johnson's case, I guess they would have. What do you think now the rule would be? He would have played that ball where it lied, or do you think he had to put it back?
It's a big controversy after watching all the different videos. I still don't think he caused the ball to move. I would play from the new spot.
Attempt to hit the ball. I mean, we all kind of saw that it was just kind of there, and then,
I mean, you're talking 13 plus on a stemp and a slope and everything like
Even if
that.
the guy rolls there, that he did it, you're still.
Yeah, the
still
rules
kind of
official
shows-
shows you how
There's
difficult
no
that rule
penalty,
is.
so, yeah.
But I think that goes, I mean, Jeff Hall's a good friend of mine, and they broke the biggest sacrament. There was a walking official with each group. That official's ruling is supposed to take precedence, but now they've also eliminated the TV thing.
Yeah.
So if you did everything, they went through all that whole process, and that you did everything correctly,
Yeah.
the TV thing's gone away now. They're going to go with what the ruling was.
And either
They
way, there's no
created their
penalty
own
anyway.
law,
Oh, totally.
right?
Totally.
I mean, that's why you gotta applaud the RNA, because in the Open Championship, they realized what they had, so they set up their greens that weren't gonna be affected as much.
Well, the green speeds don't factor in nearly like here in the U.S. or
Right.
especially at Oakmont. It's crazy speeds.
Okay, what happens, so like with Billy Horschel when his rolls off the green at Augusta? Right,
When it was deemed not, he didn't move it. He didn't cause it to move.
Right, but it goes into the water.
He's gonna have to play it as it went in. That's why he's gonna be in the relief area and have to take a drop.
So that rule's not gonna cover him?
But if he had caused it to move and it rolls in the water, he's bringing it back.
He's bringing it back.
Right.
Right. So because he didn't do it and the forces of nature, gravity, wind, et cetera, whatever it did, he's gonna have to play it where it lies.
So you're still
That's-
gonna be subject to course conditions?
Correct. So it's the randomness of the wind and the conditions, et cetera, cause that ball to move. That's part of the game and part of the unfairness of it.
You would play that video?
Yeah.
This could be interesting. I mean, yeah, it's like, what, yeah, if it went into the water, you say, wait a second, yeah, I did cause it to move, I did.
Well, what you're gonna do if you're a tour player, you're not gonna put your ball down if it's really windy, right?
No, not till last second.
You're gonna delay play.
Other than when your ball is on the putting green, if you take an action near your ball and cause it to move, you will still get a one-stroke penalty under the proposed new rules. However, you will only be found responsible for causing a ball to move if it is known or virtually certain that you did so. This means when it is 95% or more likely that you caused it to move. In the case of this player, it is not virtually certain that his actions caused the ball to move. Therefore, it will be treated as being moved by natural forces and played from the new location. To learn more about the proposed changes and to give us your feedback, please visit usga.org.
Only the USGA can come up with 95%.
Only. Well, they work with the RNA too. That's a team there. There's a pretty good group of people writing things. But it goes back 95%, and it goes back to the integrity of the player. So the code of conduct is going to really become part of it. There's a much more greater emphasis on trusting what the player says. It happened or didn't happen. The rules official is going to go with what they say. Another big one: ball in motion deflected by you or equipment. Used to be 2 shots, no penalty. Play as it lies. Basically, they're determining that if it hits me or my equipment, the outcome is unpredictable. It could go anywhere. So why should we be penalized anywhere? It could go somewhere bad. Off of that. Dropping the ball, we already talked about that. Any manner and any height. The only requirement being the ball must drop, fall through the air. So it's kind of an interesting term. So now defined relief area. Basically, water hazards, all those different things, it's kind of changed now. So the definition is defined relief area must come dropped into and come to rest within the relief area 20 inches from the original spot. And the only time you're going to redrop is if it leaves that area. So that 20 by 20 confined area, that's where you're going to be. Fixed distance used to be a 1 club drop for free relief, is now 20 inches. And the fixed distance for a penalty situation used to be 2 club lengths, is now 80 inches. The tee box is a fixed depth of 80 inches. So no more club lengths measurements. Smaller relief areas mean you're playing closer to the original ball. Search time down to 3 minutes. Back to the pace of play issue. That's kind of their whole thing. So we're taking 2 minutes off, 3 minutes to search for your ball, move on. Embedded ball rule. Through the green used to be a big term that basically defined the entire golf course. That definition is now gone. That term doesn't exist anymore in the rule book. It's called general area, and it applies to the entire golf course, except for when the ball lies in sand, loose sand, anything like that.
Nothing changed with the time for search as far as who arrives, when the clock begins, et cetera, it's just from 5 to 3?
So far in this, it's pretty vague, so it hasn't gone into the details of what that, I haven't seen actually, I've seen the videos, but I have not seen wording or verbiage as to when that starts. Used to be when the caddy started searching or the players started searching. Spectators could search, that'll be,
Well,
it still needs to be there somehow.
Gamesmanship when you hit it in somewhere bad and people will drag their heels, all of a sudden they gotta go to the bathroom, they gotta, oh, I dropped the tee, and, you know, so that the marshal's looking for it longer. I didn't know if they're planning anything on that on top of it.
I think they're gonna have something in there about that to when that clock officially stops. But so far, it's just a quick 2-minute reduction. I don't know when they're gonna come out with this in writing, with those details. I'd be curious to see. I think right now, all I've seen are the videos. Ball on the green moves after lifting and replacing it. So once I've marked it, I put it back, and the ball moves again. I'm always going to move it back under no penalty, which is kind of different. If the ball had not been lifted, it was laying on the green, hence the ball rolling into the pond at Augusta, then I'm going to play it as it lies.
So you mark it, put it back, then the wind comes along and blows in the water, then you put it back.
You're putting it back again.
Once
you've
you've
touched
touched
it,
it,
you're putting it back.
Had Horschel mark that ball? I can't remember that.
We mark it, or was it just sitting there? I don't remember
To
exactly.
go back.
So if he had marked it, he's fine.
He's
I
fine.
believe he had marked. And
Anytime you're in a
So that would change
situation-
that ruling completely. Once you've marked it,
Yeah, I mean, you gotta
Anytime you're in a
protect
windy
the player.
situation, you have to
Yeah.
mark it fast, because then
then you're going to protect yourself from wind or the.
But if I hit my approach shot on and I'm walking across the bridge and it blows in the water,
It blows in.
Yeah.
I should walk faster.
But once you put your hand on it,
Exactly.
you're going to be safe. So that'll protect you.
I'm gonna run.
Marathon training.
I like to see Nelson run. Have to get you on the
That's in my
golf.
pants.
You watch him leave the clubhouse and go to that car, he'll be running.
Right. Damage on the green definitely really open things up. Anything on the green can be fixed now. Spike marks, whatever. The only caveat is it must be done quickly. Can't be going up there spending 10 minutes fixing your entire line. So I'm glad they put that in there. So
That's a good change.
once again, pace of play. Touching line of play, so if you touch the ground, you touch your line of putt, no penalty anymore. So unless it's deemed to have improved your area of line. So
Quickly here, Heath, do you think that damage on a putting green, do you think that's going to tie into your clock time to hit the stroke?
yeah.
It's going to have to, right?
Right.
Because
I think-
now you're allowed to clear your line of play before the clock starts. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yeah.
And well, it depends on the conditions of competition and how the time piece of play policy is written.
Yeah.
So yeah, but most are you're able to do that prior to
So now it's going to have to be all inclusive of probably your
into
amount
the
of time.
recommended 40-second time frame. So you're going to have to be moving quick and
If you're going to repair
get some
something.
teamwork. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brushing off leaves.
So you're not going to be able to, like, people aren't going to be able to literally tap down their whole line.
I'm sure somebody will try to push it, but then that'll be our jobs to, as rules officials or expediters, to
Nice groove.
get them moving. Yeah, exactly. Unattended flag stick, no more. Leave it in. Keep going. Hit it quick. If the ball hits the pin, it's a random fact and it bounces out. Okay, but now it's no penalty. So they're just trying to get you to, once again, just move things along. Keep it in there. Water hazard is now a penalty area. No more yellow stakes, only reds. This, I think, is going to be any penalty area can be marked as red with an 80-inch drop. This, I want to see some talk more about OB and what's going to happen with OB. Is OB going to go away and we're going to make everything red? I think that kind of defeats the purpose of boundary lines and stroke and distance. The ball leaves the property. I kind of feel that should be a stroke and distance penalty, not to be able to go. It's kind of retro back into the 20s and 30s when it was only one stroke penalty for OB. You could drop right there. So maybe they are going to go retro and totally take OB out of play again, just to keep things moving. You get to go up, you don't have to re-tee, take a whole other shot. I think this one will be debated for a little bit, especially on TV. We'll see where they end up with that one.
That up there says red, it can be marked as red or yellow, they're just leaving that. It says it can be marked as red or yellow penalty.
I think you're going to see yellow go away
Yeah,
in that
people are
process.
gonna use
There's no
red
reason,
because- yeah,
because
right.
everything just drop off to the side.
Yeah. But the big thing is it's just a penalty area.
Yeah. No more lateral hazard, water hazard by definition or anything like that. It's a
Big change. That'd be a huge change at Augusta on 12 and 15.
OB.
No,
Oh,
the
the
red,
real
if it's
drop
not
off.
yellow,
Mhm.
then they're going to be able to drop by the green
Drop
on
on the
15
other side,
yeah.
or
Yeah.
12.
If they choose to do that.
Well, how could they? if the yellow goes away, how else could you do it?
Well, it's still there. I just think as things progress, you're going to see most courses go away from the yellow option.
Oh,
you're
it's still
saying
going to
for-
be
for
there.
us.
It's still going to be there in these new proposed yellow
Yeah,
options.
but I think out of ease
I-
and basically setting up your golf course, and your members are going to say, well, why is that it's still yellow? And you're going to, all right, I'll just turn it red.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize. I thought
Simplify
yellow
that.
was going to go away.
Well,
Well,
they're dropping the equidistant option on red hazards, going on the other side.
Yeah,
So
that's-
that'll clean up some of the, whether it's red or yellow as well.
That's next. Eliminates the opposite side of penalty relief, area relief. So 9 and 18 at Fenway, we've got a stream going down the middle. You can drop to either side to kind of get away from the trees, get a little bit of an angle. Yeah, now you have to stay on the same side and drop laterally within that 80-inch area. You may now move loose impediments in a bunker and generally allowed to touch the sand with your hand or club except to test the condition or make a practice swing. There's no practice swings in a bunker, nor can you touch it on the way back in your backswing. But huge change.
That's a can of worms, isn't it?
Also in the penalty area, the red areas, you can move loose impediments. So now you're in a stream bed and you've got all kinds of stuff. Now you have that, you can remove all that stuff. That's pretty liberal.
Yeah.
Pretty liberal.
Pretty, well, coming from a rules guy,
Rules
yeah,
guy,
that's
right.
pretty liberal that you can move that.
Aren't you just opening a can of worms about the integrity of the game when you start playing around in bunkers and
No,
hazards?
it's pretty simple. Move any loose impediment. They're basically giving you free reign to do that. So there's no
So we're not playing
downside.
the course as we find it, so to speak.
Yeah, you're going to start getting into some debates about that for sure. Absolutely. But they still say it's a hazard, so you're still having the difficulty of recovering from that hazard. To move the loose impediments is not going to keep, supposedly, and the way, if you watch the video, they just don't think it's going to help you that much.
There's nothing in there yet about, basically building a lie for yourself in a bunker. Moving
Well, that'd be
stuff from behind
improving.
the bunker. So there's something in the
Yeah, it's
language
still,
of it.
But if there's a rock or something and you happen to move some sand and moving a rock, I imagine that.
Then
you're fine.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So the improving your area
There's
of
still
line or
that
line of play
language
is
in
still
there,
going to
yeah.
be, that prohibition is going to be in there. Here's my most controversial one is the unplayable ball in a bunker. So you get the ball in the bunker, you don't even try, just pick it up, take it out, 2-stroke penalty on that line with the flag stick back as far as you want to go. I don't know,
It changes pop bunkers.
that's pretty bonus time. 17, a roll hole, I mean, you get it in the front bunker, you pull it out, just keep going, move on. Another one too, damaged clubs. Damaged clubs for any reason can still be used. So it used to be an anger, you couldn't use it, you could fix it. Big thing here is you can repair in a timely manner, but you cannot replace it. So no matter what you do, you can always use that broken putter. You broke it over your knee, you can use the bottom half. It doesn't matter anymore. So you broke it, you started with it, it was conforming, now you can use it.
Woody Austin's in the clear.
Is there a limit to how you can repair it? There has to be
Timely.
carrying tape.
Yeah, it's just time. If you can
Keep
do it
some
quickly
duct tape.
while you keep going, you don't delay play. It goes back to the speeding up theme, so you can do it. And they threw in a caveat: you cannot replace a broken club, a damaged club during the round. So you used to be able to do that if you had an extra club in the locker or do whatever. You cannot do that. I think there's limited exceptions where if I think you're a good putter and I take your putter and break it over my knee, okay, now you're going to be allowed to replace it. So there's a few exceptions that are pretty blatant. But anything that you do to your clubs, you're going to be stuck with. Distance measuring devices anytime, anywhere, unless prohibited by local rule. So you have to be a pretty stodgy club that's going to write a rule that you don't allow lasers, but I'm sure there will be some. The LPGA Tour rule, caddy may not assist with alignment or stand behind the line of play. I think that's a huge improvement. They think that alignment is a skill set, so you should not get help doing that. Do it yourself. I think that's a good call. They also allow a caddy to lift and mark a ball anytime without permission on the putting green. So the caddy and/or player can then replace it. So he can get up there quick, mark it, clean it, put it back down. Boom, you go. Do whatever you think. So once again, speed of play. Ready golf. Encouraging ready golf. May play out a turn to save time. No more than 40 seconds per shot. When that starts, we'll have to have some debate and some gray area. Here's another one that's probably not going to be anything that we're playing with. Alternative form of golf is a maximum score. So if you want to set a maximum score for your club, double par, 2 times par, max double bogey, net double bogey, you can do that. Get people moving around the golf course, and it does. Be curious to see how this affects handicapping, but probably equitable stroke control will be in there somewhere. And then we hit on it earlier that the expected standards of conduct, misconduct. They're encouraging every committee to adopt its own code of conduct, and then you can set penalties and/or disqualifications for the severity of whatever that the committee feels is fit there. Back to the one thing too, reasonably making an accurate measurement. If the committee feels that you've done everything in your effort to make an accurate measurement, even with TV calling in and/or proving that you dropped in the wrong place, you're safe. So I think that's a huge thing too. Get rid of the TV corrections. To the integrity of the game, you used to have to call over your fellow competitors to announce when you were lifting or marking. Now you're not required to announce when lifting. You must mark the ball. May not clean it except to identify, and it must be replaced. So that's kind of different. They're trusting you, the player. You don't have to bring somebody over to prove. Be curious.
That one's going to go through.
Be curious to see if they require 2 signatures on a scorecard down the road the way they're going. So that's kind of, you can see the slope where they're going here. And then the new standards is relying on the integrity of the player. So the committee is definitely starting to rely on what you say you intended to do. Right?
Obviously, we should know all these rules and what they mean to our memberships. Do you or anyone else plan on talking to the membership as a whole? I mean, I have a concern. If we start bringing up all these 32 changes and talking about them, now the occasional golfer is going to be really confused when he plays this 1 round per month.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what your thoughts are.
Do they pay attention to the rules anyways?
Not really.
I mean, that goes to the bifurcation argument. I don't think the average player, I think what's the percentage of people that actually have a handicap is probably 5%. So 95+% of the golfing population doesn't keep score for a handicap. So nor do I really think they play by the rules. I think it's a small set. I'm going to take this to my men's golf committee and see if they want to enact it now, test it out. Because I do think it's a lot simpler. Really takes away a lot of confusion as far as, I remember taking the rules test so many times and trying to come up with a score with a substituted ball versus a wrong ball and trying to get the right number. This really takes care of a lot of that. There's no, you can, I think I skipped that one actually. You can substitute a ball now anytime that you get to drop it under these rules. So if it's a replace situation, you must replace the ball. So the ball actually has to go back down. But if it's any other drop where you get to drop, pick it up, drop it, you can put any ball in play. So I think that's also
So the 1 ball rules out?
No, that's not. That's substitute ball. Is that rule? 1 ball rule is obsolete and is a local rule only. So conditions of competition can put that in play, but it's not a rule of golf.
Now, even though they're proposed and they're taking back information, we can assume that they're probably going to go through with these.
I think you're going to see a lot of these edited and changed. I think the unplayable ball in the bunker is going to get some review. You're going to talk about when does the clock start. I think you're going to see some wording in there. So I think you're going to see a lot of hashing back and forth on this over the next couple of years. And when they come up with or until August, and then they'll go wordsmith it. They'll sit in a room, and the RNA and USGA guys will just finalize the exact wording.
So here's the thing, from my standpoint, it's like USGA is very concerned about pace of play, but they don't do anything about it. And it just, to me, it's ironic. You know, because I sit there and I watch US Open rounds that go on forever and ever and ever. And so like, who takes them seriously about pace of play? You know, and then they run all those ads going US Open that's taking 5 hours to play.
I think they're the only organization, though, that you actually see people go on the clock. The PGA Tour employs the rules officials, so I don't think you'll ever really see a
You're not going to see it on tour.
True pace of play policy because it threatens their jobs. Well, the USGA does have a little bit more teeth as far as timing goes. But I also think you're looking at the toughest test of golf. So those conditions are going to cause things to go longer.
I agree, it's a tough, but that gets back to they set up conditions that are, in my estimation, unfair to the player. You know, when I'm standing there, my ball on the green rolls away. That's unfair. That's just no way around it. You know, they dropped the ball a couple times last year, especially in both major championships. So it's embarrassing.
They had a rough 16.
They were happy to see the calendar change, weren't they?
Wrong name of the champion for the Women's Open. Ruling affecting that outcome as well. That was a little bit more timely introduced. They actually put the ruling in place on the spot, as opposed to an hour and a half or hour and 45 minutes later.
That's
So
ridiculous.
that was what.
Only Dustin Johnson could have survived that.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. But I think it's going to be a good debate to see where we end up.
Since you mentioned the players given more trustworthiness, marking the ball, was there any mention of changing what they came out with last year, saying you couldn't record a score for handicap if you played by yourself?
That's still in play, and that's a handicapping rule, not a rule of golf.
Yeah.
That's separate. So as these two merge together, we'll see what that happens. But I think that was
Not that anybody probably abides by it, but
yeah. I don't think anybody has really abided by it so far. As our handicap committee doesn't really care. And I think that was an RNA thing that pushed it through. But well, that'll be 2019. You'll see how that change affects things.
So Heath, you said you were going to approach your men's committee about maybe enacting the rules for,
Yeah, just gonna give it a
anybody
test.
else thinking of doing that, or maybe for some, or?
Seminole did it, I think, already.
Yeah, they've got some public.
Yeah, I got a hold of Mr. Ford and down there, and he said that they used it for the tournament a week or two ago, and he said that the most popular one was putting with the flagstick in. That was the most common, and which is interesting because they have a great caddy program. But and the negative ones were the dropping rules. Dropping an inch off the ground, the 20 and 80 inch sort of thing. That was most of the comments that were in the negative side that he experienced. He said everything else was very good. So
What were the negative parts about that?
he didn't go into detail with them, but just said that was kind of where the negative talk was. I don't know specifically what happened, but
They're probably one of the most purest golf memberships in America.
Which impresses me that they put it into effect so quick.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they may have someone from the USGA as members or executive committee, which is more than likely. Okay, let's be a test case.
Yeah.
But I think the 20 inch and 80 inch is actually, to me, that simplifies everything because you're going into a very small spot. You don't have all these different 5 options versus 3 options. It's one option. It's lateral, and that's where you're going to go. Jeff?
I think in both cases too, you could look at it as they're trying to make those things the same for everybody. In other words, for the club lengths, if you're not at an advantage or disadvantage whether you do or don't carry a long putter in terms of measuring. It's the same prescribed area for everybody. Same with dropping, standing erect, dropping at shoulder height. Well, if I'm 6'7" and you're 5'2", those two things are different for us in terms of what the ball may do when it strikes the ground. So I think the counterpoint to that, or the philosophy there is, certainly it's going to look funny. The first time we see somebody on television go down 1 inch from the ground and drop the golf ball, we're all going to have a mini stroke. I know I'm going to. But let's not forget, you used to drop the golf ball over your shoulder, right? So while it's going to take some getting used to, I think there is a method to the madness, and when you
The
spell it
problem
out,
with the inch drop though is you could basically build a lie.
well, I'm sorry.
I can find it tough to grasp.
Oh, 100%. And you know what else you're
I
going to
don't
see?
like that.
The other side is you're going to see people go just as high as they can because they want it to bounce it off.
But
it's the same.
It has to
Everyone
come in.
has
It has to come to rest in that 20 by 20 area.
Certainly.
So if it takes a big hop, you're redriving.
Well, then you're going to.
So then you're going to redrive.
Then you're going to place.
Yeah. So
The bunker's the big one though. Now
At
you
least
can
it's the same.
not bury in the
Right.
bunker when you're
Yeah,
doing it.
yeah. I think that's a good. That's a good change.
the unplayable ball.
Well, if you're dropping a ball in a bunker now, you can drop it from an inch above, so you're not going to bury
You
it.
gotta eliminate that
Yeah.
bad break per se. Totally.
All right, thanks, Heath. Let's take a 5-minute coffee break and come back with V Park.
Good job, Heath.